Welcome back, my wisdom walkers. And for those of you who are new to my channel, Life Lessons Learned, my name is Sherry, and we're going to talk today about something that's always been on my mind, and that is why on earth are people insisting on being constant care bears? Okay. So let's get into that. And this whole thing is really called Stop Being a Constant Care Bear. So I'm going to share with you some instances that are very, well, let me say this. They're kind of short and sweet, but it gives you the idea of why we don't need to be constant care bears and how you can free yourself up from that, what do I want to call it? Affliction. And again, as you guys know, or at least my wisdom walkers know, I've kind of been this way since my youth, but if you understood my family dynamics, you would understand why. So I'm going to give you a few examples of what I mean when I say stop being a constant care bear. And four of these actually occurred during different times of my employment at different companies. But it'll at least give you an idea of, I mean, really, are we really that invested in what strangers or coworkers or people that don't have a vested interest in our lives, why we should care about what they think, what they say, what they do? We can stay in our lane and make sure that they stay in theirs. So with this first one, it's kind of a silly one, but I was like, really? So I happened to be at work and I was sitting with a group of people and we were all just sitting at a table talking. And as we were doing so, a different group of people, or maybe two or three people, happened to be walking past, which it's no big deal. People walk past you when you're at work, sitting at a table. I happened to sneeze as these people were walking past. Now, I did it correctly. I covered my mouth, I turned my head, I said, excuse me, that kind of thing. Well, one of the people who was very, nice, polite, happened to say, God bless you. And I replied instinctively, God has already blessed me. So, as because they were walking past, they didn't know who had sneezed or who gave that kind of reply. They were like, God has already blessed you. What the hell? But I mean, that was the way that I felt. Well, they looked at the person that was sitting next to me. And so she saw that and she said, that wasn't me. And she looks at me and says, tell them that was you. That was you that said that. I'm like, I'm not a care bear, okay? I don't care who they think said it. I don't care who they know said it. I'm not going to, am I supposed to apologize for my response? I don't give a care bear about what those people think. And she was so invested in that. Well, I don't want them to think I said it. I said, and if they do think it, what are you going to do? We can't control what other people think. So it's like, are you kidding me right now? I got bigger fish to fry than to worry about what someone thinks someone said as they're passing by. They don't even know us. But anyway, that's just one of the more, to me, humorous ones. But I'm like, I'm not going to be invested in things that people think that are passing me by. Now, the second work incident had to do with a supervisor that I had. And this was with my having been transferred to the supervisor. So when I first started working there, I had, one supervisor. I had worked with that person for probably a year and a half. And then the company itself was making some changes, some major changes and some minor ones. And so some of us will be working different shifts, working with different supervisors, getting transferred to different departments. And my whole thing with all of that is that's fine. I'm there for the company, okay? I'm there to make money for me and to do whatever it is that they're asking me or task that they're assigning me to do. So this new supervisor wanted to, of course, get to know all of her new people that would be coming under her department and being under her wing. And she was doing that individually. So we would meet with her. We were going to be meeting with her one on one. And you guys know how sometimes you can have haters in the form of supervisors or managers or colleagues. And again, it matters not to me. I don't really care about what people are hating on. That's an issue they need to deal with. But this particular supervisor, and I get it, some people are like, well, you need to care about what your supervisor thinks and what they do because they can have an impact on you. And my thing is, that may be true in lots of cases, but let me explain why it's not true in my case. My thing is, if I'm doing what I'm there to do and I'm outstanding in what it is that I do, and trust me, I've been outstanding in every job I've had in the last 45 years, okay? I just don't settle for mediocrity in my life, um, in any area. So I'm always the one to learn everything, adapt, get new skills, do that kind of thing. So me saying, well, that supervisor doesn't like me, I'm like, they don't have to. They have to respect me and they have to acknowledge the skills that I bring to the table and the experience that I have, but it doesn't matter to me if someone likes me or not. I'm not in grade school, okay? But this supervisor, when she called me into the office and we're just, having casual conversation, and then she opens up my file and she says, there is one question I needed to ask you, and I don't know how to go about doing it. And I'm like, we both speak English, so just ask the question. But I didn't say that. I said, oh, what kind of question is that? And she says, I'd like to know, with your position here, how did you commandeer this type of a salary? Because people in where you're in your position don't normally make that much. Okay. Well, I'm not making as much as you, so could be asking you the same thing. How did you commandeer your position and your salary? But I didn't go there. So I said, how did I commandeer that salary? And she said, yes. And I said, that is not an issue that you and I need to discuss. I said, I met with everyone that I needed to meet during my interview process. I actually was interviewed by 6 different people at one time. So, yeah. And I said they actually had contacted me when I still lived in Michigan. I said, so they were the ones interested in me. They were able to see the skills and experience I was able to bring to the company, and I was able to prove that. I said, so I'm not sure where your question is. She did not like that answer at all. But since I'm not a Care Bear, I didn't give a club. Okay. So I do not allow people to, bully me or definitely I don't allow people to make me feel less than. And I get it. I mean, she was correct. I was making more than the people in that position had made. But again, that was a deal that I made when I first came in the door. So I wasn't worried about now what is she going to do? How is she going to handle that? Those were issues she needed to deal with. Now, the third incident at work, and this one I talked about in a previous video. I don't even remember what the title of that video was now, so you may have to watch all of my 1,001 videos. No, I'm kidding. To see what that one was at. So I'm not going to go into all of the long story that got us there, but just know that the lesson in that one was a group of people were, how companies have you carpool so you can save gas and time and, everyone's getting together. And this one lady had noticed that I declined the carpool that she would have been a part of. And because of the area that I was in, I would have also been a part of. And she came over to my desk asking me why I decided to decline being a part of the carpool. You asking me why I made a decision in my life or what I want to do. Uh, I don't owe you an explanation. Why? Because I'm not a Care Bear. Don't care what you think about me declining it. I don't care what you say about my declining it. I don't care. I don't care. I'm not a Care Bear. So I just politely told her that I haven't explained myself to anyone since I had left my mother's house at 18. And I certainly was not going to be explaining anything to her. So I'm like, we're done with this conversation. And again, it's not done in like rude or aggressive ways, but I'm like, I just don't care. I'm not a Care Bear. You deal with whatever issues and thoughts you need to and stay in your lane. And then the fourth ways that I make sure that people understand that I'm really not a Care Bear. And, I don't even know if they do this a lot at places of employment anymore. I've been working from home now for 5 years. Well, is it 5 years? Since COVID. So it's 2000, well, COVID was the end of 2019 and we all got home and sent home in 2020. So yeah, it's 2025 now. So it's 5 years. But don't you just hate the companies that every week they're collecting for something, somebody's birthday, someone's anniversary, someone's, I don't know, baby shower, someone has passed away, someone has gotten a promotion. I'm like, by the time I get through donating to all of these different causes, there's no reason for me to be thinking I'm gonna have a paycheck at the end of the month. So early in life, and I mean really early in my life, because again, I always say, the proof, the proof of a lesson learned is the application of it. So when I was very young, in my teens, and you're working and they're always collecting for something, you're like, oh yeah, I'll give. By the time I was 20, 21, and I was working at places and they were like, hey, we're passing this around for so and so, I would just politely say, no, thank you. I do not do donations unless they're ones that I initiate for myself to send to our organization or to an event. But no, I don't allow anyone to shame me to put a certain amount into some type of a donation or even to donate at all. And so what I started to do was just simply say no to all the donations. Now, you get the whispers in the office. She never donates no matter what it's for. She never contributes. Guess what? I'm not a Care Bear. So it matters not to me what you think about me not donating, what you say about me not donating, how you feel about my not donating. What matters to me is I don't donate. Okay. I keep my cash with me and I do with it what I want to do. And to be honest with you guys, I'm one that doesn't celebrate all of these minuscule, whatever you want to call them, events in other people's lives. You have a you got a promotion? Hey, congratulations. That was good. You're about to have a baby? Wow, good for you. I don't care about donating to all of the causes, all of the events, all of the things that people come up with every month. There's a New Year's one, then there's Valentine's Day, then there's what is the one with the green? I can't even think of it. When everyone wears green, you know what I mean? Day, St. Patrick's Day. I mean, it's always something where you have to give your money, your time, your talent, and I was like, no, I'm okay. Call me the non-care bear, okay? So those are just some instances that I've done at work, and it's not like, not upset that people ask me or anything. I just would like for them not to be upset when I decline. But if they are upset, guess who's the non-care bear? Now, another one that I really don't give into is what um some people think about. Let's see, how do I say this? What we display or what we wear or anything like that. So, one of these I'm gonna show you. So I do wear glasses to drive, and I sometimes wear them to read, and I have these, things on it to make sure that I'm not leaving my glasses somewhere or I don't have to look for them. They're already around my neck. And I have and I don't hide that they're there, so I just let my chain dangle. And one time I was at work and I was, wearing that, and this lady at work said, "Oh, that's interesting. You don't hide the chain behind your ears. You don't mind people seeing them?" Why the hell would I mind if someone sees that I'm wearing chain with my eyeglasses? I mean, yeah, okay. And then later in life, I had a few other like friends or colleagues say, "Oh wow, you wear your chain right there, huh?" I can't wear it on my wrist because my eyeballs are on my face. And one day I was working at a part-time job, and as I said before, I do everything outstanding. So this colleague who knew my work ethic thought that wanted me to like slow down for the night because he's like, if you keep going at that pace, they're going to want all of us to go at that pace. Okay. I can't do a slacker pace, so I'm not sure what you're asking me. So he looked at my glasses and he goes, and there you are with your grandma glasses. First of all, I'm not a grandmother, okay? Ah, I'm old enough to be one, but I'm 10. Actually, I'm not one. So I said, "What are you talking about? I'm not a grandma." And he goes, "I didn't say you were. I said you wear grandma glasses." So my thing was, and you guys know me, I'm like, if people come to me to initiate BS, they'll get what they get, okay? I'm not going to worry about their feelings, their thoughts, how they didn't mean what they said, how they were only joking, because I'm not a care bear. You don't care about what you say to me, guess what? That's a two-way street. And I won't say problem, but the issue with me is I have a very, let's see, sharp tongue. And I don't allow people to just willy nilly say what they're going to say. And then they walk on down the path of what's definitely not righteousness, right? But my lesson here is that, how some people are like really offended or really hurt, or they're like, he called my glasses grandma glasses. I don't give a clock. I'm like, okay, that's your opinion. I'm fine with that. They can be grandma glasses. I don't give a dang at this point if they're grandpa glasses. I don't care what your opinion is about what I do in my life when I'm not messing around with you. So I had to laugh because it was a young guy, and I don't think the youngest had anything to do with it, but it was just funny to me that he said that, and I guess he was thinking I was going to be like hold my head down or think that I'll be like, I can't believe you said that. I was like, yeah, that is funny. I guess these are can be called grandma glasses. And actually, when he said it, I thought of the old nursery rhyme, old Mother Hubbard looked at Hubbard, and they have her with those same kind of glasses on. But anyway, again, just don't be a care bear about what people say, what they think, what they do. Why? They are not investing in you financially or mentally or spiritually or physically. So why would you even give a darn about what anyone outside of you thinks? I mean, I just always have been that way. Now, this next example that I'm going to give you has is one when I was, how you're going into some stores like mall or at this time, I don't know how long Walmart has been here, but I don't even think Walmart existed. Maybe it did. I may not be as old as I think. But, you're going into a grocery store and they sometimes have people outside the grocery stores that are giving you flyers that don't have anything to do with the groceries or the store, but like an event or something that's going on with what they're interested in. So I was walking with a friend, we were headed to a store, and they had these people outside with the flyers. And you know how sometimes when someone's handing you a flyer, you just kind of reach out and then they think they can stop and talk to you about all of that. But for me, again, I just don't care about any of that stuff. So in this particular time, these two women were holding out Jehovah Witness type flyers. So they was talking about I don't even know what they call the meeting group that they go to, but the hall or something. I don't remember. But anyway, she was one lady was on one side, so she was near me, and the other lady was near my friend who was on the right side of me. And as the lady handed me out a flyer, she said, "Ma'am, would you be interested in this watchtower or whatever they call it?" And I said, "No, thank you." And I smiled. I'm like, she asked me a question. I responded cordially, friendly, in a friendly manner. I can't say friendlyly. And my friend, she's one of those that, your people pleaser. And so she, reached out to get that. And then that lady kind of, started talking to her about whatever it is that they talk about. And I continued on into the store because I had already declined one. So there was no need for me to stand there and listen to this whole spiel that they're giving to my friend. And when my friend caught up with me in the store, she said, "Jerry, when you did that, I wished I could have done the same thing." She said, "You were not mean or aggressive. You just said, no, thank you. And you smiled and you kept walking. I wished I could have done that." And you guys know me. I looked at her and I said, "You could have. You don't have to worry about what someone thinks about you're not taking a flyer that they're trying to hand out to you. And then they want to talk to you for a half hour about whatever the hell the flyer is about." Stop being a care bear. You don't have to, and you're not, I mean, well, I would hope you're not hurting someone's feelings. I mean, I'm sure that there are sometimes throughout the day they get a no thank you or leave me the hell alone or whatever. Because the interesting thing is, when I said no thank you to the lady that was trying to hand me the flyer, she said, "You're not interested in knowing whether you're going to heaven or hell?" And I said, "No, that doesn't concern me. If it doesn't concern me, it shouldn't concern you, okay?" So, it's like, no, I'm not trying to please everyone that I come into contact with on a daily basis who sure as hell aren't trying to please me. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. That was the flyer rejection, no care bear instance. And then the last one I wanted to talk about was, okay, so the other videos that I did was about family estrangement. And this one had to do with like a family deal, you call it a family competition, family rivalry, whatever. Again, I'm the no care bear, so it doesn't matter. But there was a family member, excuse me, that everyone always tried to please. And there's nothing wrong with that. If people want to please someone, that's their prerogative. It's their prerogative. You can do what you want to do. Okay. Kidding aside. So, and when we were younger, when you're younger, you kind of go along with the program. I mean, the family dynamics and everything, some things are tradition, some things are, things that the family does on a regular basis or whatever. But this family member was someone, like I said, everyone was always trying to please. So when it came to Christmas time, family members would ask each other what they were getting this member. Okay, so let's just to make it clear, just say there's an aunt that everyone tries to please. And so, in order to do so, they try to find out what everyone else is buying her so they can top it. Okay, so they can give her something bigger or something better or something more expensive. So, the first few years, maybe being 11 or 12, I was like, well, I'm getting this. And then whoever I told would get something different and bigger. And I was like, oh, okay. So, I learned this lesson early in life. So, one Christmas, and this is when we're all much older. So, we're like, all of us, well, the bulk of us were grown ass people, okay? And they're like, "What are you getting Aunt so and so this year?" And I was like, "Ah." You knuckleheads, I'm not a Care Bear anymore. I've wised up to this game." So I was like, I'm not sane." They were like, "What do you mean you're not sane?" "I'm mom. Mom's the word. No one needs to know when I'm getting someone else," which was fine. And then, of course, I should say this because this was the part that helped me learn this lesson. This person, when they would get the gifts and, open them up, they would call all of us and say, "So and so got me this, and you only got me that." Or, "I thought I was going to get this, but so and so made it even better." So they would always like keep this competition and this rivalry going. But that being said, I do want to say this: no one else can keep a rivalry going but us. So as long as those players were willing to play that game, they themselves were agreeing to be a part of that chaos. And once I decide that I've had enough rides on a roller coaster, guess what I do? Yep, you guessed it. I just get off. Don't get on the rides anymore. I don't stand in the line. I don't compete with others. I just don't because no Care Bear here. So that year, everyone was were buying, expensive gifts, trying to outdo each other. And guess what? I got this person. Well, you won't be able to guess. And no, I won't say it was nothing. Okay, I did get them something. I got them a card, a humorous card. I signed off on it, and I sent it. And I didn't worry about the diamond earring someone else got, or the bracelet that someone else sent her, or the tea set that someone else decided to purchase for them. I was like, those are wonderful, beautiful gifts. Here's my card. Guess what? I'm not a Care Bear anymore. So these are just some of the examples that I wanted to give to you. But of course, and you guys know this, these are like, I don't even want to use the word slight or small, but they're just ways to show you guys and to let you know that you really don't have to be a Care Bear no matter what the situation is. Maybe the situations are more major for you. But my whole purpose of this video was just to say we do not have to be constant Care Bears for everyone in our lives, for people we come into contact with, for events that are at work, any of that stuff. You don't have to care. I'm not saying don't care about how you look or don't care about doing your hair or don't care about dressing professionally. That's, as you know, none of that had to do with this particular video. I'm talking about not caring about how others think, feel, or what they'll say about you because who gives a flying, I don't know, can't say that word, but learn to be okay in your own skin and your own decisions and what you are doing in your life and be Care Bear free. This is Sherry. This is Life Lessons Learned. For those of you who are so inclined, please subscribe. And for those of you who have come to your own conclusion of not no longer being a Care Bear, or if you're having issues and challenges with what still thinking about what others think or what others say or how others feel, just take 3 deep breaths. Know that you don't have to continue to create that kind of a lifestyle for yourself and be free, or should I say, Care Bear free. Thanks, you guys. I'll see you on the next run.